Hello, Martha.
Hi, Jazz. Well, everyone, welcome to I Guess Upside podcast.
I'm Jasmine.
And we're missing our beautiful co-host, Jessica. She's out for today, but we thought we'd hop on here and not miss a chance to share an episode with you guys. So, Jasmine, let's just dive. I feel today's episode could be a little bit about the raw emotion of everything, right? How you feel, how the holidays are affecting us. Before we got on this call, you and I, we were just chatting for a little bit about how it feels right now decorating for our loved ones in the ofrenda, and how the holidays feel numb. Tell me, Jazz, how do you feel doing the
It,
ofrenda for Ernie?
it feels surreal. It's like, I was excited starting this ofrenda because I wanted to do it for so long, just in disbelief that he's there and that he's gone and that I'm honoring him right now. In that way, like, it's like another wave that just comes again and it's surreal. It's like another wave of disbelief. Like, God, this is real, you know?
And it's the holidays that make it even harder, right, Jazz? Now that they're getting closer. I know you mentioned that you said was decorating uh his grave, right, with fall decorations. That triggered you in a way.
And I messaged her and I said, "Is he really gone? That's why we have to visit him now." And I think as the holidays are approaching, and the very last holiday we spent with him was Thanksgiving. So I think that's where it's hitting close to home, and I just miss him so much.
And it's their first. I know Jessica kind of said, girls, your first are going to be hard, right? This will be our first Thanksgiving without mom, Christmas. I didn't even decorate for Halloween. I don't feel like celebrating. I don't know how our listeners feel, but if you've had our first or if you haven't yet, I'm curious, to hear in the comments if you put up an ofrenda. How did it feel? My mom's ofrenda is simple, like your arch, but flat and just a picture of her and some candles and just doing that simple ofrenda. Just it's like I don't want to let her down and I want her to visit me. It's heavy to build un altar para alguien que quieres tanto, que se te fue. It's really emotional. I don't have words for it, honestly, just feelings. And I can see it in you. Your feelings are there. And it's como dices tú, the waking texting, your sister, is he really gone? We get those messages where I message, my dad messages yesterday with a picture from her grave. Y decía, I miss your mom so much. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we all feel the same way. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where life is going to take. I'm confused.
Sit with him, and then that's what I'm really trying to do. But I was like, okay, maybe we're not going to record today. And I was like, that's a sign from the universe. I need to sit with this. And I was feeling in a funk. And then when, you messaged, I was like, okay, maybe I do need to talk about it and just let whatever's happening. So if you wouldn't have pushed today, I would have just been like, it would have been a grief day for me. But here we are. And I'm ready to just let it be.
Is there anything you'd like to share with us today, Jasmine? I mean, this is your grief day. You want to talk to our listeners out there of what grief day is to you?
Grief is so questionable. I feel like we think the waves are unexplainable. The waves are, the anger, the bargaining, the acceptance, the whole of seeing them again. And then they just kind of start over. You're like, okay, I'm good. I'm accepting this, and I know he's resting, and I'm gonna see him again one day, and then you get mad all over again, and then you don't believe it again, and it's just a never ending cycle. You're talking about it with you guys, and I'm thinking I'm okay. I'm processing these feelings. I got that feeling out of the way, and then they just come again and there's no controlling it. That's how grief has been for me, and I think for most people, that's what they mean by the waves. At least that's what it means to me. These waves just come, and there's no stopping them. You just gotta ride the waves.
And it's like you said, the waking up one day and feeling like you're gonna be better, you're processing it better, right? And then the next day you're like, "What? No." Para mí, every day is a very delicate, gentle day because I don't know how I'm gonna pop off. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Obviously, none of us do, right? And if I thought I had shitty days, doesn't compare to my shitty days right now. And it's the unbelievable, believable that she's gone. I cannot process that. My brain is not doing that connection. It's surreal to me. It pisses me off. And then the next day I'm accepting it, but not really. In the back of my mind, I'm not accepting it. I feel like superficially I pretend like I am. Pero yo ya no sé qué hacer, la verdad. And I want somebody to tell me that's been through it. I know Jess is 2 years, but what about year 5, year 10? I've met people who are still grieving at year 10. And I know that they say grieving is part of the brain process, right? The fact that you love someone so much that your brain doesn't understand it yet. And if we didn't love them how much we did, we wouldn't be grieving. We wouldn't be really missing them. And that is kind of the way we honor them as well as miss con tanto dolor, un dolor que, like you said, bargaining earlier. I, yo nunca se me olvida at the hospital how they have the chapel. Yo me metía y me salía. Mis hijos empezaron a tocar el piano, los grabé. This was Thursday night and I was on my knees en donde tienen para que te arrodilles con Dios. Y I was bargaining with him. I won't go into detail, but I bargained my life away. And then I remember when she passed, I'm like, did you not listen to me? I was willing to do everything. Now I'm not going to do it. I'm being a little bit too open. And obviously, I won't go into detail, pero maybe one day I will. It's just then you're pissed off at God. And then you try to connect with God. And then you're like, it's okay because she's with God. She's happy and she's safe. El otro día la soñé y me levanté bien mal porque usually when I dream her, it's a happy dream. I've only had 2 bad dreams. And this one was, I don't know if I shared with you guys, but we're moving her. We're moving her on 11/11. And
Okay.
I dreamt that we were at her new funeral again and that it was open casket like it was the first time, pero que estaba como ella dormía to the side, real comfortable, and she hadn't decomposed at all. She was herself. But it felt dark. It felt scary, and I think my mind and my subconscious is preparing for that day. My sister messaged me and said, "What do you guys wanna do after mom's funeral?" It's like, "I don't know, nothing. I don't know. I'm gonna relive it." And that's just hard. I don't know how that's gonna go, and I'm really scared. I'm really scared.
Okay. Are you guys going to do a mass, a ceremony, a priest there?
That would be better than nothing, right?
I think so. I mean, just finding that maybe a little bit of that faith, that comfort of a priest being there. They might have the right words for you at that time too, and it's always good to I think they say she should have a blessing, right? And they move.
It's gonna be, really hard, and I'm not manifesting that. I know it. How reliving that, right?
Course. Of course. I mean, most people only experience a funeral once, and that alone stays with us. Let alone going through it again. And I can see how that can be re-traumatizing. You already remember how, all that from her first funeral, and like you have to do it again. You're gonna have that experience twice. So I can see it wouldn't be easy, but hopefully with the support of your siblings and your family all together, you guys just stay supportive and together and pray Obviously, I think that might provide a little bit of comfort, but I don't have the right words to tell you. I wish I did, but just
No, but I don't think we don't have the right words. I don't have the right words. I don't even know. I am so fearful of that day. I got the day off from work, but do I need more than the day off because I'm going to relive this? And then having to show up is not easy. I know I mentioned kind of a little bit of my bargaining. Did you do bargaining with God or with the universe?
yeah, I definitely do. I think I was doing it before he passed, and then I do it now with him. I talk to him and I'm okay. I promise you I'm gonna get better. Just let me go through this for your kids. I know I promise you I'm gonna be there for your kids, but I need to deal with this first. So I have like a whole bargaining. Like I'm gonna give myself so much time, to like get my shit together, basically. And I talked to God, and there's a lot of things that I did when he was alive that I was bargaining with God with, and I think that's where the anger can kick in sometimes where it's like, you know, I I did so much and I told you I would do so much more and he's not here. Their heart's in the right place, right? But God didn't listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know. It's just us in that moment of anger, God, I know they're here. I know they're with you. You gotta get back into that, like, okay, I'm sorry, God. But it's okay. I mean, it's very normal, and I've read about it, and we're not the only ones that get angry with God and with even our loved ones. I know you've experienced that, and I know I haven't talked much about that, but I too get angry with Ernie because I feel like I don't know if he was leading me on with like these false hopes and like he was giving up without telling me. And I get mad at him for like not talking to me about what he was really doing or thinking. Cause, moving out, I kind of found some evidence of things that I was like, he wasn't doing, his medications or, certain things. And I'm like, here what I'm doing, anyway, I go in circles.
No, that's okay. That's what, we're here for, to go in circles because we're not sure how to process this. And I know today, guys, we're a little bit off topic, but that's okay. I feel like we can do that as well. We're all over the place, and this is what this episode will be, just raw and emotions. And but the bargaining one's a good one, right? I mean, people don't know how much they bargain. And ¿a quién le estamos pidiendo? Pues al whoever we believe in, if it's Buddha, if it's God, pero a alguien le estamos pidiendo. Y con alguien nos enojamos when they take them, right? I am too really uptight lately. I am not who I was. Don't smile like I do. I feel like a fake, a fraud. Um, I have a shorter temper with my husband. You told me You asked me if I keep busy at work so I don't have to kind of, think about all this or be living it. And I am. I realize I am. I realize I do not have one extra minute in my life to spare every day. I don't sleep well. I cry all the time. I wake up questioning why she's gone. I wake up questioning why other people have their moms and not me. I wake up, my mom used to, when she was here, she would help me pick up my son on Fridays. And I have no one I can count on for that, and so you take that for granted when she's alive, and I feel like I have to excuse myself for being busy, though. I'll tell my husband, "I have this," I went back to school, so I'm in school again, and, my business, my job, my career, the podcast, being a mom, being a wife. I'm disconnected from my family a lot, but I feel they remind me too much of my mom, and that's selfish. They remind me of the moments that will never be. So I focus on being around people that don't remind me of the moments. And I know that's not okay and that's not healthy, but I don't know how to do it right now. I don't know how to host a dinner because my mom used to love quisiéramos carne asada. And every time I host something, I want to do it. I don't like doing it anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't know what to do, honestly. And I ask myself, I don't know if you ask yourself, Jazz, like, are we crazy for feeling this way?
No, and I can see what you're saying by staying staying busy. I felt like you didn't realize you were doing it unintentionally, but from the conversations that I have with you, I feel like you're heavily grieving. And I just feel like we keep saying like, let's sit with it. But I'm like, when do you have time to sit with it? I feel like it's important, from what I've read and said, it's like we can't run away from it. We have to ride the waves, and the more they're going to catch up to us if we don't deal with it. And I'm trying to remind myself of that. I think that's where I'm kind of grateful in a way that I'm able to stay home. And if I am having a grieving day, I'm going to just let it be a day and sit with it. I've been having those more and more, I feel. I thought I was like doing better, and like I'm like way like, I went from like being like this to like I'm just having a really hard time. Like again, I think it's because the holidays are approaching and his anniversary is approaching, and I feel I'm letting him down in the sense that, my last words to him were like, "Hey, I got your kids," and I'm like, I can't even, I don't barely know myself right now, but I promise you, I'm gonna have your kids if they call me, I'm there for them. I do check in with them here and there, but like I just feel like I don't have the capacity to be available for anyone right now in that way, like full time work. You know what I mean? Like I'm just so used to being like a caregiver that I feel bad for not doing more.
I see what you're saying. I yeah, the capacity to be there for anyone else because I'm not okay, right? That's what it is. I think that's what it is with grief, that we don't know how to even handle ourselves right now. We don't even know what's gonna set us off. I'm not trying to be mean, but you can tell me, but when people have little problems, I'm like, I get mad. I'm like, it's not a problem. If only you knew what a problem was, but it's not their fault. I was that way too. When I had a little problem, everything was like the end of the world. And now I'm like, my biggest problem, I want her back. That's my biggest problem, that I cannot have her back, that I cannot talk to her. I know we did the heavens hotline, but I want to touch her. I want to hug her. I want her to give me a kiss goodbye. I want her to call me and tell me that she made, lunch. And it's like, I tell my kids, it's so hard to be a mom when you're missing your mom. That's the hardest one for me because, like, I don't even know how to do certain things without her. You know, the recipes I didn't ask her for. Grief is part of life, but it's not fair. And you question God, like, why my mom? Why not so and so's mom? And I know that's mean. And like yesterday, my husband's really busy at work and I'm really busy. And he did tell me, "Oh, I'm really backed up on work. I need to do this or something like that because I zone off. So because I'm always thinking of my mom. It's so weird in the back of my mind." And I was like, "Well, Joel, we don't have my mom to pick up Aaron on Fridays anymore. We don't have her to help us and take him to pick up food or for him to spend the night on the weekends. We don't have that. So why don't you ask your mom to help us?" He didn't say anything because I'm sure he probably thought I was being snappy. But to me, it's like, she was such a big part of our life. She helped me so much. So why don't you ask your mom to help us now? I don't have my mom to help me, you know? And if people want to show up, my suegra will help us because I don't know what I'm doing. It's horrible.
It's horrible, and I think I'm sure your husband understands that where it's coming from. I know we say like they don't really understand grief, but I think they understand that that's part of your grief, that you're being snappy, and that you're like, well, I don't have my mom, so ask yours. It's completely valid. Um, I don't think you should feel guilty about that. I know it's hard not to, but I think you know that you have a good support in your husband. Your husband knows what you're going through.
You
You
had grief brain.
Oh yeah, a lot. It's bad.
It's a thing, right?
I mean, I think me, my mom, and my sister were always like, "What?" Like in the middle of the sentence, or um, even the last days that Ernie was there. But also the sleep, right? not sleeping isn't gonna help. But I go through nights where I really just stay up and I just like, watch videos and memories of this. And I think another trigger was last night. Was you get your memories on social media, and I posted a year ago, ex Cavalera from Sepultura. Yeah. Sent Ernie a video. And he's like, "Hey, Ernie, you got this, um, fight the fight. You got this, man. We're praying for you." And I was like touched by that then. And then I was like, "Oh, and he was so excited. Like, that's his idol, right?" And so Ernie got to meet him exactly 1 month before he passed. His friend came down from Oregon, bought him concert tickets, and took him to go see him here in Tempe. And he took a picture with him and everything. But I thought that was really cool that he, became his idol before he passed, exactly to the month before he passed. But that was just that was just something I was like reliving. And that was a lot to me too, how I just, you just go on a spiral of memories. And
The staying up, right? The not the running on empty and questioning, like, how am I even living like this if I don't sleep 3 hours and you don't feel sleepy throughout the day? Because your mind is always occupied with their memory or something of it. And when you try to sleep, I'm gonna show you one of my favorite videos that keep me up.
that's okay. And like you said, it's funny that you're like, how can we not sleep? But it's also like that's our fuel right now. Like
Yeah.
at the same time, they're the ones that we're just constantly
Yeah.
thinking about them. That's what's keeping us so weak.
To me, it's like to me, when I watch videos or pictures of her, but there's a video that really gets to me each time because it's the memory we'll never have. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a memory and it's something we'll never have, right? In this video, it's my mom and my dad dancing on her birthday that we did a big birthday party for her because she survived stage 2, was cancer free by then. Stage 3 colon cancer, and we threw her a I threw a really big birthday party, and they were dancing here, and like, it breaks my heart to know that, like, I never will see this, right? It's such a hard video.
It's such a beautiful, beautiful memory. And I can see why you're struggling. Obviously, that's gonna make it harder to struggle with what your dad's going through right now. And how you said, like, God, they just had a
Yeah,
lifetime together.
and one thing, I do sometimes when I'm alone and I'm crying, or when I'm driving and listening to music that helps me or music that she might have liked, or just in general. She, I when I talk to her and God, I cry, but then I try to make myself happy. Have you ever laughed, cried? Like, you wanna be happy, but you're so hurt, but you're laughing. Is there a
The combination, I feel. I understand. I've done it. I've done it. And it's either like an angry laugh or a sad laugh. But my laugh isn't a laugh anymore. Like, it's not a genuine laugh.
exactly that?
There's another emotion behind it, like the guilty laugh, the sad laugh, there's laughs, but there's more behind it.
Someone has told me, "You'll be happy again." Do you think I will? Do you know? I know me. I don't know how I'll be happy again, and I'm not preparing myself to not be happy again. I'm doing everything I can to be happy again. It's just nothing's working. I feel numb.
And I know we don't like to hear. I know we've said this before, and it's like, okay, let's see what time does. I don't think it's gonna heal, but I don't know. I just only time will tell, I guess, but I can't see myself not aching this way for someone we love so deeply. Like, it just was, how does that void get filled? Oh, I like
He said,
that.
one day you're crying in the car, the next day you're dancing.
It's true. It's true. That happened to me yesterday, Monday, and I was like playing music, and then I saw the ofrenda and I was triggered again. Oh, because it was actually a really nice song, an emotional song too. So I just looked at him and I was literally staring at him. And I was like, my God, but I can't believe I have you crying for that night. You shouldn't be here. You should be here on earth, not here. And I'm like, literally, how I'm talking, that's how I'm talking to him. And I'm just like, brother. And then I just started bawling, like talking to him. And then I started talking to everybody else from here. 'Cause, like, I have a lot of people
Yeah,
I love here.
everybody
But yeah,
else.
I'm just like, I'm like, God, like this life is unfair.
I sleep 2 hours. I didn't work for a month. So I closed the spa. I didn't work at the spa because how was I going to serve my community the way I love serving people through health and wellness, which is what I do and I love. It's my passion. When I couldn't put down the bottle so I can numb the pain. And I remember none of this stuff. I was just a mess. And we got home and me tropezó we have big dogs y me tropezó, but I was drunk y me tropezó and I flew out the door to the back and I scraped my knees completely, peeled off skin on my knees and I didn't feel pain. My husband was in the bathroom. Y salió del baño. I go, where the fuck were you? He's like, what? I go, I fell. Where were you? You weren't here. You didn't help me up. And I started crying. I started crying. I was like, and that's why no estoy loca, I'm grieving, right? And I remember feeling so bad after. I think he had a lot of grace with me. He's had a lot of grace with me. Una de esas, we were at a baseball game, and by the time we got back to the hotel, we went to the Kings and Queens Cantina. We drank, pedimos mariachi, pedí todas las canciones de mi mamá con banda, mariachi, todo. And I drank and I drank and I drank. Llegamos al hotel and I couldn't make the fucking AC work. I ripped the thing off the hotel de Lacey because I couldn't work. And my husband was like, I remember que me miraba y como like, okay, it's okay, it's okay. Y me agarró y me abrazó, and I was just crying, screaming for my mom. And it's those no estoy loca, I'm grieving. And it's those moments that really alter your brain chemistry. Not the same person. You're not happy. We were having fun at the game, but in the back of my mind, it's not fun at the restaurant, but in the back of my mind, ya llego y estoy solo y no está la música, no está el juego, no está la gente. And I just let it all out and I scream and I break things and I question it. And I'm just so tired of it. I'm just so tired of living like this. And I'm gonna have to live like this for the rest of my life. You know, and for listeners out there, do question if you want to keep living. I do. And then I look at my family, I'm like, I can't imagine what they would feel if I wasn't in their life, right? But how do you live for someone else? I'm not living for myself right now. I'm just staying alive to be there for my family. Maybe I'm not even a good mom or a good wife right now either, or a good friend, because I'm not questioning. I question you and just how you're doing. I ask my sisters how they're doing. Me and my brother don't talk. You know, I ask my dad how he's doing, but I don't care. And it's not me being mean. It's not that I don't care about you. I just don't care about little problems that anyone has right now. I can't carry those with me right now. Uh, and sometimes when somebody's giving me their little problems, I'm like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I zone out. And I'm thinking, well, you have your mom, or well, you have your brother. You see, I have my brother, and we don't even talk, and that hurts. But who would have thought my mom was like glue to our relationship? No estoy loca, I'm grieving.
No estás loca. No estás loca. It's your mom, and who's here? Your mom is the heart of the family, and I feel like you can attest to that, right? Like, and I mean, I think that's how most people feel. Like she's the heart of the family, and when mom goes, I feel that the whole family feels that the dynamic changes extremely, because she's like the one that gathered you guys all the time. I'm sure it's always at her house, right? You mentioned she would invite you guys over. So, I mean, I hope that maybe in the upcoming funeral with your siblings, maybe things might get better. Hopefully, there's
Yeah,
we can
you know,
we can wipe the slate. Hopefully, something positive comes out of it.
to each other, you don't mean them. And I'm sure, like, the things my brother said, he didn't mean, and I'm sure, things I said I don't mean, but you're hurting so much that you just hurt people, and we hurt each other, and I know it's not okay, but how do you go back and fix those hurtful words?
You have enough time, and I mean it's obviously how you want to handle it, but maybe you can sit and reflect on how you said that your sister asked you what are we going to do after your mom's funeral. Maybe we could just kind of sit and reflect and see, like you said, you guys do say hurtful things to each other, but I don't need when you're upset, you regret it and you don't need it because you're so angry. So maybe you can find this can be a make amends with your mom's client first, and then you guys can hopefully, try to make things a little bit better.
Did the show today with What's Up, Human, Johnny and Veronica. They both lost their dads around the same time. They both lost their dads around the same time, and I think Johnny expressed that he lost his best friend and so many other people, his mama. And I said, "You guys should be on the show." I know we're eventually gonna yes. Somebody mentioned they want to bring in somebody who's lost a child. It's a hard one, but we need to hear what they have to say, right? And I'm sure listeners out there want to hear that. Me quebra el corazón just remembering, that you have your mom and she lost her son. Your dad lost his son. You lost your brother. His kids lost their dad.
And I know you gotta look at the big picture, like, like, you think about somebody that lost somebody's son or daughter, grandchild, or it's hurtful in so many ways. And I feel like we always look at the immediate grief, like it's either your parent or a child that's the biggest piece that people recognize. But there's more, like there's I'm sure like Diaz, like that are dating their nephews. And I've seen so many people post like I don't people don't have a nephew, I'm doing, but I love my nephew. Things like that I just feel like there's so much grief, and especially I think at our cultura that we're so united. We're so united, like we're born with our nieces and nephews like our own. And so I feel like it might be a little bit different in culture. Feel it as if it was a lot, maybe, I don't know, deep. We definitely feel it deeply, I feel, just because we're so close and united with our immediate family.
We are, and we're not like my family's small, but we're so close. And now it's even smaller, and I feel so distant from. I mean, I love my dad, but I feel like he's a different person too. I'm a different person, and we're really distant from each other. Everyone in our family right now. You know, it happens.
My dad has opened up so much about the grief in me on our conversations. And he wasn't doing it then, but he had a lot of medical stuff going on right after Ernie's passing. So I think right now he's feeling relief from medical stuff. So he's now like, okay, now I can breathe. And he's just talking and talking about Ernie and the memories that he had and how he's, le gusta Rosario cada noche, sin falta, every night. He's like, le reza el resto. Y me pongo a pensar cuando estaba chiquito. And my dad is literally he's blind. So I think I me pongo en sus lugar, and I'm like, if for us who saw it, I think it's hard to accept it. And I will give some major, major detail, but like the day it happened, my dad was touching him and he was like, "Are you guys sure?" And he's not moving, so when he talks to me and he opens up about how much he, misses him and how him and my mom talk about him. And so I'm glad that they're talking. My mom will tell me that stuff. I bought her a book, but she hasn't finished it. She probably hasn't picked it up in a few months.
The child. I can't even understand them. My heart goes out to mom and your dad.
We're all hurting. in some way, right? We all love our love, whoever we lost. It's a personal good, like I guess you guys said, grief is personal. It really is, and it doesn't matter what your relationship really was to that person. Like uh, like he's my brother, and I know people are like, "Oh, he's your brother," and yeah, and that hurts. And I feel like it's looked at like, well, but how's your mom? You know, and that kind of gets upsetting. But it's like, no, it's you guys are hurting. I'm hurting too. I don't want to like have that conversation with people. I feel like it's like I feel like people look at me and they're just kind of like, hey, like get over it. That's how I feel. You
Careful of how much I say around certain people, you know? If you've been through it, I like talking to you about it. You yo le digo a mi esposo también, le dije: I don't tell you a lot of things because I feel like ya te estoy molestando." He's like, "No, just tell me." But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, "Does he really wanna hear me just talk about my mom all the time, every day?" But here, we have good support group. Jessica has an amazing husband, you do. I have an amazing husband, and we have amazing kids that are there for us, siblings. I have my dad still, gracias a Dios, and it breaks my heart to see him heartbroken. And it's like it breaks your heart to see your parents, right? Más que nada a mí, like my sisters y todos sí me da tristeza, pero mi dad me quema el corazón. I don't know if you feel like that, like versus your siblings, your parents, seeing them might be a bigger heartbreak for you than seeing your siblings because you know how they hurt. I'm curious to know that.
feel like we're all carrying a different identity. I think I'm also the more verbal one as far as talking about it. I talk about earning, but I feel I'm the only one that really posts like the vulnerable and like shares that kind of stuff, but we don't have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I'm the one who shares the vulnerable side of it too.
So
Yeah,
that's why we're here.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy because like you and I, you say we don't feel like we could talk to people about it only if, someone that, can relate. But I think this is why we are doing this platform. It's like this is where we could really be vulnerable, say how we feel, say what we think. Um, and I mean, this is a start, and I know you and I feel like God, this is the rest of our lives how we're gonna feel. But I feel like this is a start to hopefully some acceptance, hope that I will smile or laugh without guilt one day. That you, I'm sure, can go visit your mom's house and do a kind of stuff with your family, and instead of us thinking like they're not here, it's like no, their presence is here, and like they're in us, they live within our hearts, and I know it's hard to always try to think about it in light, right, in a light, in a positive way or in light, but I mean, I feel like at the same time, I should try to just think about things in a more positive way sometimes, as much as it hurts.
To me, and this is just me, Jazz, where we could be different, right? Accepting her death is forgetting her. I don't know why I feel that way. Mentally unstable, maybe. Uh, I'm tr- I'm trying to find the new that people say I'm gonna be because I don't like her yet. I like the old me. This new me is the fraud, is hiding behind a smile.
But I know that's how we view ourselves, like a fraud or like I'm being fake. But in my experience, like that's why I'm not putting myself out there in like social situations because I don't want to feel that way. And the times that I have, I'm very self conscious of it. Like it's there, it's right in the back of, like you said, if it's that thought behind every smile, every conversation. It's hard for me not to zone out of a conversation.
And oh, yeah. It's normal. It's like someone's talking to you like a zombie. Like, okay. Are you almost done
I'm
talking?
literally like when I'm listening to you or Jessica talk, I do listen, and like I said, it's I listen to the conversation, but I don't zone out, but I'm like picturing it like a movie, like what's happening at that time for you. Like it's when you and Jessica were like sharing your stories and especially the details of things that happened, with your moms. Like I was literally picturing everything. I probably wasn't looking at the gallery what I was doing, but I was literally like picturing it like if I were there. And I think that was a heavy episode, I think, for all of us that day. I mean, listening to you guys, I felt like it was really heavy. Um, but it makes me um you have spoken about you were scared about who's next, and it just like you're putting that into perspective on like it makes me afraid of when that happens, if that happens to be, you know what I mean, and that time to come for us, then there's nobody's guaranteed life forever, right? So I know that's part of life, and it's
Yeah.
just like you said, it makes me a little bit that put me there, like at that moment.
That's scary to live with that. But we are living with that because you're scared. You're so scared of feeling. So is it possible to feel more pain?
But my parents, who knows if I go first, right? But like God, like I can't even imagine that pain. And my daughter, she's 11, and she's like, "Mom, I don't want to go to another funeral." And I was like, Why?" Like, she's like, I don't." And I asked her more, and I was like, what did you feel?" And she's like, "Well, it's too sad. It's too sad." And they love Ernie so much. Their dear Ernie that's where they spent their, you at time when you visit. Um, but she's like, I said, we're all gonna die one day, and yeah, I had to kind of give it a talk, like, and she's like, so I think when my dad was ill for a little bit right after Ernie, she was like, "Is he gonna die?" And I was like, "We're all gonna die one day, baby. I don't know when. I can't say." I didn't want to tell her that I found me, give her, but she has that fear now, and she's always asking, like, "How's my papa? How's my dad?" I'm like, he's good, kind of give her some reassurance, but I also don't want her to think like we're invincible, like this is part of life at the same time. I don't know I'm trying to learn how to deal with that. And I just don't have the capacity to like try to find the right way to do it right now. I'm just flowing with it. And I know there's ways to talk to kids about death. And I haven't gotten books about it, but then when it comes to having a verbal conversation about it, I'm like,
This was an emotional episode. Um, I would like to kind of close with a question we can ask our audience and we can answer as well. Is do you think it's a visitation from them or like just a coincidence? Algo, una mariposa, un hummingbird, those números. Like, remember the numbers I sent you, girls? Is it a visitation that she's there, that she's was with us? So I'll say the quick story for mine, right? The day of her funeral, my mom loved going to the casino, Cocopa Casino, and that's where we're moving her on 11/11. My dad subconsciously picked that number. He picked 11 because she died April 11th. But I go, you know what 11/11 means? And it's like, what? I go, it's angel number. That means, your loved one is near, da da da. And he didn't even know that. And he picked 11/11. So anyway, so the day of her funeral, she loves the Cocopa Casino. My dad, we were all like, hey, vamos al casino for my mom. I don't gamble or anything. And they're like, vamos. A few of us went. My dad didn't go. And we were at the bar drinking, and I was talking to some people. Y estaba llorando, obviously. Nunca me quité los sunglasses. Era de noche. I wasn't wearing makeup. I was just miserable, right? On the way out, my mom tenía una máquina que le gustaba jugar. Siempre estaba, me tiene esas máquinas. And I go, let's take a picture of Nana's machine. Melanie and Isaac, let me take a picture of you guys. And the picture has the numbers 11, 44, 63. And I never looked at those numbers. And I think it was really late when I text you guys, guys, look at the picture, zoom in. And then I explained to you what it was, right? So it's 11/44/63, the numbers. My mom died on April 11. So 4/11, I was 44 and she was 63. And if I didn't believe that it's visitation and not a coincidence, right there, she showed me que ahí estaba ella en ese momento tan fuerte de nosotros. So I don't know if you have a story to share there, Jazz, but that was a good one.
No, I feel like for you, yeah, definitely. Especially if you felt it, that presence, and then you noticed it at that, you're like, oh my gosh, like that speaks to you. I feel like it's definitely a visitation.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Those
Have
are
you
not
had
the
your visitation, your story you can share?
Yes, since the very beginning, a lot of feathers like coming out of, I don't know, left and right. Like, so when he passed, I went on a mission trying to find all our videos, and I had to bust out with my camera, my camcorder that PUBG rolled it was. I hadn't taken it out in, I don't know, like 15 years, 10, or definitely more than 10 years. And I pull out the camera, and as I pull out the camera, I'm like looking, opening the buttons, and I look at the bag, and there's a feather on the bag. Of the bag. And I'm like, where did that feather like come from? Like in a camera bag. And then from then on, it was just like almost every other day. It was just like feathers. And then like it was really windy, and I was just walking up to the window, and I have the, the outdoor window pane, it's called, right? The window pane. And as soon as I was walking up, the feather just lit onto there. Like, what are the odds? It's just like the timing of it and the way things happen when I'm reading the sibling book of Feather Buster outside in my yard. And I just see them like coming. Like they just come out of nowhere. And I'm just like, that it does make me sad, but I also look at it as like, thank you for not leaving me completely. Like I feel you, I feel your presence, you know? It's also reminded like, okay, they're still with us from the other side somehow. You know, and try to see it not. But yeah, anybody that has experienced something like that, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear your story. And hopefully soon we'll be doing submissions to see if anybody wants to share their story with us as well. Yes. And Martha, can you tell us a little bit of where we can see that interview that you did today?
Yes.
And you have
Okay. We were on the What's Up Yuma radio show this morning. I was sharing about the podcast. So you can find that interview on Spotify, but obviously their Instagram and their Facebook. And it's What's Up Yuma with Johnny Porter and Veronica. We were just sharing our platform and kind of, trying to get people out there to know that this exists, this platform, and eventually, it's going to get bigger and we're going to be able to support each other on a bigger level. And so Johnny and Veronica gave us the opportunity to share our story there. So that was really nice.
we'll make sure to share the links in the show notes so you can catch those episodes.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting with us today.
Yes. Thank you.
If you'd like to see more like this, today's episode was not really planned, but hey, you got the raw middle of our grief today. So if you relate and you'd like to see more episodes like this, go ahead and subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music as well.